Alright, well, we just passed the freezing point here in Colorado, so it's important that we keep our hose from freezing up. So I'm going to do a little video here on how to make your own heated hose for the winter months. As you can see here, I have a garden hose. This is a little better. It's a heavy duty hose. It has some fixtures on it that are a little more beefy from the cheap ones that you find, and the hose itself is actually rated not to burst to a much higher level than a normal hose. But I got that for $15. Aluminum foil, obviously, some pipe insulation, heat tape that we'll be putting along the inside of the hose, and then an adapter, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut the hose. I only need a really short one, so I'm going to make a 6-foot hose myself. The local store was out of 6-foot hoses, so I'm going to make my own. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so in my case, since I'm cutting the hose to make a shorter length, which saved me a little bit of money on getting a shorter heat tape, also less materials to stretch along a 15 or 25-foot hose. So I have it stretched out here. The hose is still a little cold, so I have rocks holding it down, trying to straighten it out. I want to cut it at about exactly 6 feet or just a little bit under, so that the heat tape actually goes the length of the hose. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now. Okay, now that I got the hose cut as straight as I can here at the end, what I'm going to do is take my adapter. I'm going to put my adapter, shove that down in the hose as far as I can, and then this little clamp, basically you just take the screws off and then you tighten it back down on top of it, and it should hold it and keep it watertight. So just need a screwdriver for this step. So I'm going to put the adapter on now and finish off the end of my hose. Okay, we got our hose cut to length. I got the adapter exactly where we need it at the end, nice and tight. And I tested the hose to make sure that it's not leaking, so we're good to go. So what I'm going to do now is wrap the hose in tin foil to hopefully help disperse some of the heat around the hose. And then we're going to zip tie the heat wrap tape around the hose down the length of it, and the zip ties will obviously help hold it in place. As you can see, the heat wrap tape at the end has a plug that will glow so you know it's on. And then there's the thermostat, and obviously the thermostat you're going to want to leave out in the air so that the thermostat will kick on when it gets cold enough. Some people say they put it inside the wrap, and others say just keep it outside to kick on during the air temperature, and I believe this one kicks on at 45 degrees. Okay, at this point I have the hose wrapped in tin foil, and I have the heat tape along the whole side of it, and I have zip ties holding it on, so that's going the length. Keep the flat side of the heat tape against the hose to hopefully keep it as warm as possible. I have the thermostat and cord hanging out the female end, which will go to the water spigot outside, and then we're going to wrap it in these foam tubes. And in this case I'm going to be using HVAC tape along the open seams of the tube, and obviously where they connect. Some of these tubes have like a little sticker thing on them that I guess seal themselves up, but I would recommend using tape either way. Okay, and as you can see here, we got a tube all set up here. I got it wrapped in the HVAC tape on the seams and then along the sides to hold it. If your hose you think is going to be moving or flexing a lot, you might want to use duct tape. It tends not to break. It's a little more flexible. So I completed this hose for about $45 and have that leftover heavy-duty hose, which I can just add a female end into, and I have about just under a 20-foot hose that I'll have to use as well. So it's a pretty cheap way to do it and should keep our water flowing through the winter. Obviously, if it gets extremely cold, you just want to leave your faucets at a drip. Keeps the water running through the lines, and it's a lot harder to freeze. So, and wherever you're hooking up to, make sure that the spigot and the location you're at is okay with you doing this. This obviously, if done incorrectly, can do a lot of damage to the property that you're connecting to. So, anyway, pretty easy, about half an hour project. Now we got warm water coming through the tube the whole winter.